Welcome to Greige Against the Machine, the podcast where we celebrate the extraordinary talent and accomplishments of lesser-known and even unknown artists and creatives. I'm Lisa Catara alongside Justin Harvey, and each week we'll explore the minds and stories of the journeymen and women behind your favorite films, shows, ads, music, and more. Those who craft magic without the red carpet spotlight or public eye, because everyone has a unique story to tell, and sometimes the most inspiring voices are the ones you haven't heard yet. Let's get into it.
Welcome to another episode of Greige Against the Machine. Greige, it's that color that's not gray. It's not beige. It's greige.
I love that we're going to explain this every time. I hate the color too. I chose it, but I hate it too.
I just
Justin,
like saying
we're done
greige.
with J. Harvey. How are you doing this fine holiday season? I know you have kids.
Well, you said the key word. The key word is holiday.
Yeah.
And I mean, is it too soon to say bah humbug? So over.
Honestly, it starts at like September. So now.
Okay, but see, I tuned that out. Like when I walked into Target after Valentine's Day and they already had the Christmas trees up and everything,
God.
I tuned that out. I was fine. I was okay with that. I was able to wash it clean. But then I got the kids coming like in a week, and like I actually went shopping today, and
spent.
That's it. I've worked, 16-hour days on set before, like 6 days in a row, whatever. Just the worst things that you could ever imagine happening, in our business, like where you're on your feet and you're like, I'm jumping out of helicopters and crazy. It's not nearly as tiring as going to Sam's Club.
No, not at all. I would choose
to
that
find
any
the Harry
day of
Potter
the week.
Lego. I'm over it.
It's hard to explain to people outside of the industry, but we live for that drama on set. We like it.
Yes, but I will tell you this, for those who are industry adjacent that are watching us, and I know a few of my friends have been, and they really are digging kind of some of the insider stuff we tell them about. Well, let me tell you this. The 40-hour work week in our industry is a laughable joke. Even if you are a line producer in an office, like the 40-hour work week is a complete joke. Just
so cute. You have family stuff? You have something you have to do tonight? That's so cute.
No, you have no life. Like,
so sweet.
For me and Unscripted, it's typically 6-day weeks, 12-hour days. And the 12 hours does not include your lunch. It doesn't include your transpo to and from. So it's usually a 14 or 15-hour day. You get back to your hotel.
My tiny violin, or is this like a...
No, it's not. I don't have a problem with it. And
I love it.
And when I'm actually working, I get compensated well for it. So it's fine. But when people are like, 40-hour work week is so hard, I'm like, like
try going into work for 8 hours and coming back 24 hours later.
Right, exactly. 74, 80-hour work week, not uncommon in our industries. Anyway, we've got an amazing guest today, right?
I love my Brady. You got to say it with me, though. We want to welcome one of my favorite people in the industry. And I'm not just saying that. Like, if you've ever met Shaun, he's an instant favorite. He's just the nicest guy.
The nicest guy. What you saying?
The nicest guy.
Piccinino. I'm sorry. Lisa
Piccinino. What's the matter, you?
Piccinino.
At times we can't hear you if you don't do that.
Piccinino. You literally can't hear me unless I am emoting and talking with my hands.
You're bilingual. That's so cool. Yes.
Fine. You got me. Let's bring in our friend and associate and colleague and amazing overall talent, Shaun Piccinino.
Hey guys. Hey, what's the matter for you, huh?
There it is.
I think whenever I tell somebody how to say my last name, I literally do this. I say Piccinino. I don't know why. I think that's just what you have to do.
I feel like it makes it very clear.
I hope you guys don't mind me coming to you live from my garage here.
We prefer it, actually.
Great.
We like to have something. We have nothing, so
yeah. I could have thrown up something behind me, but you know what? Yeah, we'll just hang in the garage.
I couldn't even get gray in the Rochambeau. She got the gray. I got the beige. Like there's.
So the Greige. So the Greige is the combo. I got it.
I mean, literally, but not necessarily about the show. The Greige. It's the people, the journeyman, man. We wanted something like the Actors Studio, but for all of us, for the other 96% of the entire entertainment industry, who's maybe your names you don't know. Your name comes up and it flashes, and they're more excited about Casper or somebody else that you're working with. Like, who was the director again? That was really good. And I gotta go back. We want to tell your story. So, my brother, I'm so excited. So you and I, we've known each other for many years, and I didn't realize how many years have passed since then. But you, like me, wear lots of hats. It was acting for sure. It was stunts. It was directing, and then it was directing and producing in the context of stunts. And you're a huge DC Marvel guy, you know, all the characters. We had Heroes with Issues and superhero vlogs that I got a chance to work on with you, which was freaking fun. And
so much fun.
So many movies. So you got 3 movies right now on Netflix. Is that right?
Yeah, I think there might be 4. I'd have to check. But yeah, we've got a couple holiday movies, which is obviously very timely. We've got California Christmas 1 and 2.
So good.
And That's More is also on there, which is a really fun rom-com.
I've watched that now because I've got friends in it. I'm like, yes.
Oh, yes.
Y'all get nickels.
Yes. Oh, I mean, the cast of that is so amazing. And then Wheels of Fortune is a really like a rated R super can I say this, dumb comedy. It's like it's great. It's like Will Ferrell adjacent, you know, that kind of humor where the smartest person in the story is just not smart. I mean, you know, and it just goes downhill from there. That was so much fun to make. I've never laughed harder. So those are the 4 on Netflix right now. And for the holiday buffs, I do have another holiday movie on Max called Holiday Harmony. So
I see it's coming up soon. It says that it's to be announced. So I'm waiting to see that one too. But
that one came out. That one came out. Did it come out last year?
Are you sure?
Come out last year. Yeah. Oh yeah. Brooke Shields.
Like, no, I got it on loop right now.
Like he would know.
yeah.
I just want to make sure that the streaming network is okay.
That might have been I don't know, maybe on my website it still says to be coming soon or something. But anyways, no, it's out.
We're not that up to date on our social media and our IMDb.
Oh no, my stuff is so up to date that she does it.
Which is why it's up to date.
She's like, if we're gonna do a podcast, I'm fixing your IMDb. This is some garbage.
Yeah.
Producers, not a single producer friend of mine has a friggin' photo up on IMDb.
I know. I know.
You don't want to be found, I guess. I don't know what the deal is.
You got to get a picture up there.
It's not that. It's we're reckless and we're haphazard. And
please tell the stunt people how reckless you are. We love this game.
You don't know? I believe you know. Lisa and I almost did a thing once where I was going to have her do some stuff, and she was like, "You need more people than what they're going to give you for this reality show, don't you?" And I was like, "Yes." She was like, I'm going to pass on that. Let's not do that.
Was that the car?
Smartest decision you ever made.
I mean, you know.
It was, we did a driving shoot in a Fast and Furious type car in the power plant in New Orleans there where they did all the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah.
There. And I did have an actual stunt coordinator come in and do the very difficult stuff, but I mean, you're talking tight corners, brick walls.
Oh, yeah.
It could have all gone so sideways so fast. And it's reality TV. And you know, your safety guy, your director, your producer, the crafty guy, it was all me.
What was that called? What was that?
The name of the show was Fat and Furious Rolling Thunder. Bunch of it was done by Gurney, the same guys who did Duck Dynasty. So
that's amazing.
I hate to break it to you guys, it was soft scripted, and I haven't done too many of those, but I mean, we had
reality is scripted. Gasp!
The cars actually got built though. The builds were real. The scenes of the builds, maybe not as much.
Yeah.
Sounds like an OSHA violation right there. We're gonna stop that one.
It was Youngstown guys. I really like those guys, and I was there, so I did everything as safe as possible, and I put the kibosh on all the bullshit. But you know,
of course.
But hey, look, there's only so much you can do. That's why having real teams is important. Which brings me to the more actory studio portion of today's program. Shaun, why the hell do you do these things you do? How did you get started in your whole Hollywood journey? Like, where did it come from for you?
Well, it definitely started in, where I grew up. My father is a drama professor He was for 30 plus years, and he directed 2 plays a year. He helped build the drama department at that university up in Chico, California. And he, like I said, he directed 2 plays a year, and then he also produced Shakespeare in the Park. I was on stage at a local theater through his, guidance and tutelage, and of course my mom's undying support. But I was on stage at, I think, like 8 years old, Oliver Twist.
Oh, wow.
And then, helping out with my dad's productions. I was backstage 10, 11, 12 years old, learning about stagecraft and, all of that kind of stuff, which was just so fascinating. And then just watching my father work with the actors over the years, as well as him training me, like classically training me in the different acting methods and stuff. It was just such a cool environment. And of course, I have countless friends who parents didn't support them artistically. I had kind of the opposite. Like, they were so supportive, and I know I'm incredibly lucky to have that experience, but they're, we're just always like, if that's what you really want to do, we're behind you 1,000%. And
Awesome.
So I think around 12 years old as well, my dad brought home a camcorder from the college. It was one of those honking VHS ones.
Yeah.
I think, if memory serves me, the tape part of it was a separate, a satchel,
You had to have
Yeah. I literally was like a, separate book
Some
bag
of those
that
had separate
the
battery packs too that were like 40 and 50 pounds.
I think the battery pack was part of that whole unit that you would wear, and then you'd hold the camera.
We're old.
Stone Ages. Our kids our kids will never understand. They're just like, Dad, look, it's 4K. It's great.
Yeah. It's like 8K now. But yeah, so I started doing stop motion with my toys, and which was so funny. Years later, working on a little show called Robot Chicken with Seth Green. That was kind of the same thing for him. He's like, I used to do this with my toys, with my, Star Wars figurines and G.I. Joe. And for me, I did it with He-Man dolls, action figures. But no, I also Star Wars as well. I kind of mix and match. But then that's what we did a bunch on that TV series called Robot Chicken, is we just were literally animating our childhood toys, which was so much fun. But yeah, so kind of that's where I first started experimenting with that. And then I moved into doing my own music videos. I was doing everyone from Bowie and Prince and Michael Jackson, just filming myself and trying to do, a music video. And by 16 and a half-ish, somewhere in there, between 16 and 17, I was working at a stereo store called Sounds by Dave. And we were actually family friends with Dave. So that's, spoiler alert, that's how I got the job. And I was just selling car stereos, home stereos. But Dave wanted to do some commercials. And so he just got the whole crew, everybody that worked there. Hey, we're going to film some commercials, and we're open to ideas. So anybody, here, submit if you have an idea. And of course, I went a step further, and I wrote like a series of scripts.
So
and
cool.
And he liked them. So he's like, oh, let's do these. And they were based on this. You're going to laugh. They were based on an SNL skit, Hans and Franz. Do you guys remember that?
Hans and Franz, yeah.
So Dave showed up to one of my parents' like Halloween parties one year as one half of Hans and Franz. And so just based on that idea, this little scripts I wrote for these 30-second commercials was he and I playing Hans and Franz, complete with like a gap in our teeth and everything. And we'll hit the pump up your stereos. Yeah. So anyways, we did these little commercials, and they worked. I don't know how, but somehow they worked. And so the station affiliate up there that actually filmed the commercials, he loved them. And he was like, hey, can I steal this kid to go pitch other, local mom and pop shops to do commercials? Fast forward, I did, I think, close to 30 commercials around the town and the surrounding towns.
Wow.
And that guy, I believe his name was Mark, gave me carte blanche. I could pitch any idea I wanted to these businesses. It didn't matter if they had anything to do with their business. And I don't know why people said yes, but they said yes. I pitched a kung fu, like 70s kung fu theater to a paint store.
Yes.
And me and my karate buddies, because we were all training karate at the time. Me and my karate buddies all got out there and did the fight scenes, and it was all about whose paint was better. And I don't know why they said yes, but they did. I did a crocodile hunter for a record store that was downtown Chico. I was Crocodile Dundee.
That's a vinyl.
Yeah, exactly. Good old Mike. And I pitched a Rain Man commercial, and this is the very first where I played both characters, and it was the first visual effects shot I ever did. It was split screen, and the only reason I had any clue at this point of how to do a split screen was a like Disney behind the scenes of the original, not the Lindsay Lohan version, but the original Parent Trap. And so I learned you had to lock the camera off, stuff like that. And it was a grand experiment. I convinced Mark, I believe is his name. I convinced him, hey, let's try this. And we did it, and it worked. And back then, there was nonlinear editing didn't even really exist unless you were George Lucas. So at the station, it was a local Fox affiliate, I believe. They had tape-to-tape editing. So it was kind of like film, like reel-to-reel editing, but with tape. And so we had 2 jog shuttles. So you'd kind of go forward on one piece and then the other, and then choose your splice points. But even with that tech, we were able to split the screen and figure out where it should be. And I'd play both characters. And we even did a thing where one of them sets the thing on the counter and then the other one goes and grabs it. And for all intents and purposes, it worked. And so anyways, I just remember that's my very first visual effects shots ever was doing these silly little commercials. And
that's amazing.
So that's where it started. And then the dream was to move down to Southern California and pursue making films. And I got a lot of local support, and they even did a couple news stories on me and saying, we're behind you. And so it was a really just a wonderful upbringing. And, it all sounds like roses and all that. Of course, there was
no, of course not.
all sorts of other stuff that went down. But as far as the creative story goes, I had a lot of support. I had a 9th grade English teacher who would give me and one of my best friends the last 5 minutes of every class, and we'd basically do an improv stand-up routine.
What?
And he just knew our energy. He recognized that, and he's like, I'm going to let these guys have, you know what I mean? It's amazing, amazing stuff.
Foster the children's dreams, pretty please. Yeah. So that we can have more.
This is the thing. I think about that nuance. Mentorship is, I'm worried about it now with the AI and all that, because what that teacher recognized in you couldn't possibly come from technology. It was something in their gut. It was something they felt that they were like, this kid's got something. We should get behind him.
Mr. Young, I don't know what his first name was, but now I would love to find him. I'd love to find him and even just so he knows how influential that time was in our English. That was English. It's not like it was theater class.
I had the same experience. That was my English teacher was constantly pushing me and asking me to do things and
love that.
It's just amazing we do. But so obviously stunts and acting is on camera, one aspect of the thing, but your brain works stage people. We work from 360, constantly. I noticed when we were all getting ready, every single one of us is a perfectionist on this particular podcast. And every single one of us that had to be just so the balance had to be just right. Justin, you're lying.
My back naturally just fell into that spot. I don't know what you're talking about. This
you're perfect.
Always here, first of all.
Yeah. But one of my favorite little things for people that are just now falling in love with the movies that you direct and write and produce is your cameos. I love a Piccinino cameo because you're so good. You're so good.
Oh, thank you. I don't know.
You're like, oh my God, that was the director. Like the Quentin Tarantino.
Oh,
so
yes. All the way back to Hitchcock. I'm such a fan of film. Honestly, I'm not necessarily the greatest opinion or critic on film, because I understand how hard it is to create this art, that I will find something redeeming in just about any project. And I understand that nobody sets out purposely trying to make a bad movie or a bad, right? So they're putting in their energy. They're expressing themselves in whatever way they know how, or limited ways. And so I always kind of find, I empathize with how hard that is. Same with my own movies. I know they're not perfect, and but it's I try and be super supportive, and so anytime an audience finds anything that I've worked on and it affects them in some way, shape, or form, that to me is like the biggest victory ever. I'm like, even if it's just one person, it's like, hey, that's obviously it's cliche, but that's what it's all about.
It really is. I mean, I could never find someone who didn't absolutely love working with you. And having
I'm sure they exist. I'm sure they exist.
Not a chance. I denounce it. Having said that, you allowed me into your little superhero world. I say it's little, it's not huge. You guys were epically popular. And you let me play a character that I absolutely love, that I had never seen done yet from the DC world, which was Zatanna, who I love. And you were like, here's a script, go make something. And I had my writing partner spruce it. It was 100 and something degrees in my hot ass LA apartment. I shot it in my kitchen in a space smaller than this. And Jesus.
He had it queued up.
I just want everyone to know that I shot this thing. It came in like 22 pieces that I sent to Shaun, and he made this. He did his spider web stuff, and he made magic with it.
Cool. Let me try to play a little bit of this. I just want to.
They pulled me onto a new team. And when I found out who my teammates were, I rushed on over to DC and asked, who came up with this?
All right, I'm not going to play a whole thing. You guys go to YouTube and check it out.
Bruce and Brew. I'm dynamite on caffeine.
Oh, hey, you have the hat right there. Look at that.
I still have my hat.
That's awesome.
It's a memento.
Yeah, and we also got you in there to play on an episode of Heroes with Issues.
So much fun.
You own that role. I think you should be playing it all the time.
DC? Do you hear what he said?
That's what I'm saying.
Mr. Zaslav, I think somebody needs your attention.
If I get in there, I'm pulling you in. I'm pulling you in.
All right,
but yeah.
You got witnesses now that you said that.
Okay.
You're on my radar. I will work with you again. If you have to make you direct one of my projects,
I'm down. I am down. Yes. Let's do it.
I have one. I've been waiting very patiently while you crank out these little bitty epic films that everybody loves.
I am down. I am ready.
I even know a producer.
Hey. Let's do it.
A producer who can put up a light.
Oh my God. No,
we like to call them useful producers. When everyone says, how many producers does it take to screw in a light bulb? I'm like, dude, I can actually put in a light bulb.
That's like you got to get a few more producers in a round table. Like, what does a producer do? Because
we do know that term. Yeah, that term producer can be very loose in our business.
Even now, Shaun, can you answer it definitively?
I kind of make up different producers. I'm like, well, there's the hands-on field producers. Then there's the, people that connect people. Then there's the money people. Then there, I try explaining it to family members who aren't in the business. I just have to split it up. Because I'm like a producer. Sometimes a producer is just a friend of one of the producers, and they for some reason get a credit.
Very, very true.
Well, you actually set up your background there and got lights and everything. If you would like an associate producer credit, I can make that
yes, I want that. I want that IMDb credit. Come on.
Look, I love those kind of producers. I got to tell you, I was working as a PA on Trancers 6.
There were 6.
There were 6 of them. This is the one that does not have Tim Thomerson, who starred in the other 5. He's not in this one.
Oh,
it's a long story. I also have a death scene in this movie because I have 4 credits for that movie.
I love this.
Yeah, I did audio, PA, grip work, stunt work. I was
Listen, I love that. That's what we got to do.
Fired a bunch of guns with Mike Tristano and those guys who were excellent.
Oh, Tristano, really? Cool. I worked with him back on Deadliest Warrior, I believe.
Oh yeah, Deadliest Warrior.
Oh
yeah.
My mentor was one of the directors of Deadliest Warrior for a while. But see, it's
wait, which one? Tell me.
Ian Jones.
Oh, that must have been season 3.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't there season 3. I did 1 and 2.
He was the next guy. But it's just funny because on that shoot, what actually got me paid the most was driving the producer's son to set. That was really just the money producer to get his son into Trancers 6. Why his kid wanted to be like everyone's got to start somewhere, I guess. But
yeah. But there's no small roles, there's no small parts.
$100 a day or something, but I got an extra $150 a day to take the producer's kid from Thousand Oaks because I lived in Encino or something.
I'm sorry, how much is his child's safety worth?
I mean, this producer put his kid in my car, which was a 5-speed Honda Accord from the late 90s, I think. And,
seems legit.
Yeah. So,
I think those are pretty safe cars. I don't know.
I mean,
cars,
with me driving it.
Like, well, children.
But my point was I love those kind of producers. I'm the other kind. I'm the field one. And when people ask me what a producer is, I say literally to them, I make a product.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that in the way I take my job is that it falls on me to make sure a product actually gets made. So I am literally a producer.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I have my hands on it and mold it myself. If I, and I'm in unscripted most of the time. So it's like I have more leeway than a lot of other producers. I can literally control the moment. If I need to do an interview, if I need to direct, if I need to write, if I need to jump in a scene myself, which
Justin
there are
is
tons
excellent
of.
with psyop. He can draw out those performances and draw
Love
out
that.
those scenarios.
Look, I figure if there's, they give me $2 million, they say make a show, give me this many episodes. I'm playing with somebody else's money.
Give me $2 million. I got my people right here. Let's go.
I know. I'm just saying. I want to give them the service, and if somebody gives me $2 million and says, "Hey, make this indie horror movie," then I'm going to make sure that for $2 million they get the best indie horror movie that $2 million can buy.
That's the thing. Like, I think the general public doesn't really understand this world. Like, another reason why I want to do the show so bad, I want to get rid of that line of disinformation where they think all of us are rich living in the Hollywood Hills, all in the
right. Yeah.
I don't know a lot of people like that. I work with them on occasion. For the most part, we know how to deliver quality product. We just do our jobs, and then we're grateful to be doing. It is a special environment for sure, but it's a real job, and it's definitely not for everybody.
And it's a lot of work. I mean, it's so much more work than most people realize. Like even producing, directing, whatever it is, when you're in those roles, that project you're going to be involved in it in some way, shape, or form for usually over a year. So when you think about that, like it doesn't mean it's full time for a year, but you're going to be pretty full time for 3 to 6 months of it. But that you're going to be still working on that. And if you start thinking about time in or hours you've worked, forget it. Like, might as well be working for minimum wage or less. It's like, you got to really have passion for this.
Like set time. When you go home, you're still working. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah. If you actually tallied, oh my gosh.
Have you ever gone to like a LinkedIn or an Indeed and seen a breakdown for a job and then asked yourself, wow, if I had to make one for my job, how intimidating would that breakdown be? It's amazing how much we have to know to be able to do our jobs. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm going to make a fake LinkedIn job, and there's so many skills. There's so many nuances and so many transferable things that like people don't even conceive. You have to know how to do.
I've worked with an ad agency for quite a few years, and I'll do commercials in between movies and things like this.
I know. I was lucky to be part of one.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were a part of that one, the Lone Mart ones and stuff.
Yeah.
But for years and years, he kept asking me like, "Well, let's break it down. I could pay you per hour." I go, "You don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that." I go, "Look, brother, I'm just let's just figure out a price that everybody's comfortable with, and you're my friend, and I'll just do it because." And I can't even think about it because I don't get depressed. I'm like, then I'm working for like $2 an hour. I'm like, no, I just can't,
Well, I think this way though, don't get depressed about that. And somebody asked me once, like, why do you put so much time and effort into these things? And I said, well, it's brand equity. Like when my name appears on those credits, it has to mean something, and not necessarily even to you, but to me. I can't sell myself. We're all freelance. It's job to job to job to job. And even if you're at a company, the company itself is job to job to job if they're in production.
Right.
So it's all this brand equity. And every time your name goes on that screen, it has to mean something.
That's
and
so
just like
important.
if you had a mom and pop business, you're at home doing your taxes and your books in the middle of the night because it's your name up on the, my family had a grocery store up in Maine. And, the family name was on the front. And it meant something to my great-great-grandfather. Like the recipes, he'd work the butcher counter himself half the time. Like
love that.
Have to have that brand equity. And that's why you don't ever want to do that math, because that math will make you cry. You are absolutely putting in more hours than anyone will ever comprehend or accept as reasonable in any fashion. But at the same time, if you don't, you're giving somebody else the power to put your name in a light that you might not want it in.
I try
right there.
The people that we're inviting on the show, you're technically number 5.
Nice.
We got the first one for ourselves because we're selfish people. Not really, but in general, I like to surround myself with people who always have integrity, whether the job pays full SAG scale or the job pays, a couple $100 or it doesn't pay at all. Like you're gonna bring your brand. And I keep saying, lead with, and on social media and in life, lead with what you want the world to value about you. You teach people who you are so that they hear your name, they go, I know that brand. It's so important.
Yeah, like my director of photography and one of my dearest friends, Brad Rushing.
That's awesome.
Whenever we are working on a project, what happens on our days off is, maybe producers don't want to hear this. Plug your ears. But we go and shoot B-roll. We, because we know that stuff doesn't fit on the schedule, right? If you're working with a limited budget, limited schedule, and I'm looking at the schedule, I'm going over it with like the producers and the first AD, and I'm just going, well, there goes that beautiful drone shot I was going to get of the countryside or whatever. And my buddy Brad, because of, again, he's always going to want to make the best product. It's that same mindset. He wants all the things on the screen, right? So, every time we're on one of those shoots, he's like, oh, I see we got this day off. So are we going to go get the drone shots? Are we going to do the B-roll of the bridge? Like, what are we doing? He just knows. And that's what we do. Sometimes you'll catch us playing music around a fire somewhere. Like that's fun for us too. But I'd say 99% of the time we're off shooting something that's going to end up. And the crazy thing is that stuff always ends up on the screen.
Always.
Yeah,
it's always on there.
Than they ever know. So here's my question for you, Shaun. And this is a real question. Time for the hard questions. Where's the line? Where's the line between
life?
You want to make it good for your own personal sense of pride, but also you don't want to be taken advantage of by the business. I won't just say the line producer or the company or whatever. It's by the business in general. When you're 13 hours into that 12-hour day, when you do want that shot and it's going to get used in the edit, it's just silly cutaway of somebody's hands, but it's going to save the dialogue in the other part. Like, it's that thing, whatever that thing is. But where's the line for you and for people who are watching, especially younger ones or people that need a little mentorship? Like, where do you tell somebody, like, here's where the line is and how you draw that line so that you can do good work that you're proud of putting your name on, but you're not taken advantage of?
I think obviously it is completely a different line depending on the project and the people that you're working with. So, I try to build, because again, obviously it's the producers and my bosses on a set. And then there's all the people that are working for me, or I'm the captain of the ship. So they're, technically I'm kind of steering that ship. So they have a line too with me. Right. So I try and build an environment that is the most enjoyable it can be. We're going to work hard, but I try and put that foot forward of, we're enjoying this process. Even though we're going to work really hard, we're going to do all the things we got to do. I don't want to say make it fun because that sounds cliche, but I really try and make it fun because I know that we're going to get into those 13th hours and things like that it's going to be really tough. So not just fun though, but also valued, right? So that even the grips, they feel valued. And that is built in a lot of different ways. That could be, again, producers, close your ears, me bringing a 24 pack of beer to their truck, after wrap, right? Like stuff like that. Like I want them to understand, after wrap, the next day, sure.
Yeah.
Back at the hotel.
No ladders or cables were harmed.
Yeah, no. Yeah, this is in the parking lot of the hotel. And, anyways, something like that, but just, and sometimes they don't drink. That's, just a random thing, but just I appreciate the hard work you're putting in, and I want you to understand that. Right. So, and then, both ways, like managing up, like even the same thing with my bosses who I have to report to. I think it's important to demonstrate that, you could technically try and make a movie on your own, but that's not the type of movies I make. It's a village. It's all of us creating something together. It's all of us collaborating together to make something. So I think, that line, obviously it has to be there. Another thing that I try and do that kind of pertains to this is, and I've got some great first ADs who are really good at helping me accomplish this. It's stacking our certain days, and we try and do it towards the end of our work week. So we wrap early. And I know that sounds crazy, but we'll have some tough days, and we know we're going to have those tough days for logistical reasons, location dependent,
everything,
cast schedules dependent, right? So we try and figure out how to make it so we can have an early wrap, maybe even like 8 hours. Shh, don't let anybody, that's the secret. Don't let them know. But it's like on our work Friday, we've built into the schedule, and it doesn't always work out because sometimes, the things happen, but we're trying really hard to do an early day. A lot of times at the end of your work week too, people have to wrap out. It's a longer thing. Right. So we try and purposely do that. And I have seen that go so far with especially the folks that I was talking about earlier, that, their line is going to be with me or the producers, and, just trying to have that consideration. Then in turn, when we're like, oh, we got to go this 13th hour day, or, hey, can we hold the what do you call it? Grace, asking for grace for lunch. Yeah. Like, let's just get this shot done. Like those, then, those acts of consideration and kindness go a long way to help in the reverse.
Say that treating your employees with respect and dignity makes them want to work harder on your behalf. That's crazy.
What a concept, right? I know. And of course I know I'm not perfect and all of that, but that's the strive, right? That's what we're always trying to do is
my friends are perfect. Stop it.
I want to explain for people who aren't in business, or haven't dealt with this before, the concept of grace is when you basically are asking the crew to work a little bit into lunch to finish a shot. In the reality world, this is an awful practice because it gets abused.
That's what you don't want to do. You don't want.
It basically means you're not paying a meal penalty the way you should. And in my world, where it's non-union, a lot of times you can get away with that. And if everybody's like, "Grace, sure, whatever," then you get screwed. And like 45 minutes later, people are still rolling on some nonsensical thing with some woman with sextuplets.
Oh, especially reality, non-scripted, that could just go on and on and on.
I don't typically tolerate it. I typically hate going into grace at all. If it's more than 2 minutes, I typically won't even do it, and I'll just be like, look, shots busted, guys, I'm so sorry, I apologize, we'll get right back to it after this break.
Enjoy the tacos.
My guys need to sit down. And I'm the producer, I'm the house on that one. The house always wins anyway, so why do I need to take all the money if I'm going to win anyway? Like, it's going to get done at the end of the day,
right?
But just for people who don't understand the concept of grace, it's on a union shoot, it's a little more well received. On a happy crew like one of Shaun's crews,
well, also with film, it's typically not going to go more than a couple minutes because your shot is only,
you're just wrapping up the shot.
It's just you've got something set up. It got blown for one reason or another. But
and it's rare that I ever have do that, because the first ADs I work with are so good anyways too. They're so on top of that stuff, and they don't want to call grace anyways. But in the rare occasions that it happens, I've never had a crew, knock on wood, I'm going to start knocking on some wood, where they're just like, no, screw you, or we're calling a meal penalty.
Leaving.
And I've been on sets where it has happened. And again, it's people not being treated with respect. I've been on sets where producers or even the director, one set I was on, we were in the middle of Mojave Desert. It was night shoots, by the way. Everybody goes, oh, Mojave, it's super hot. At night, it goes sub-freezing. And it also, it's the desert itself sucks the moisture out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, so, is that situation where we had actors who were in cutoff shorts and flip-flops, and I'm like, they are freezing. And this unfortunate, the bosses of those shoots were treating people, less than human. And it was one of these situations where we had to, we walked, the crew walked.
This is kind of what I was getting to too, is at a certain point, you kind of have to, like, I've been in the unfortunate position of being the AD on a few, indie shoots where, it was a little bit rogue, but the production, the people at the top and the money producers, as I call them, were pushing a little harder than they should. And as the AD that was on set, at a certain point, it's like, okay, I know I work for you and I know I'm putting myself in jeopardy here, but I can't let you do this to this crew. Like, and with some ADs, they'll crack the whip and keep people going. And that's, that's how bad things happen and people get hurt. And I definitely don't
that's where I was. I'm like, people are going to get hurt. I'm like, somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get hurt. And of course, after we walked on that particular shoot, of course they had to recrew up if they wanted to finish that movie. And they did. And 2 actors got hypothermia, and another one got, I think, blew his knee out because there was no stunt coordinator.
Not worth it.
And they sued the production. And but by the way, the entire time I was telling the production guys, they're going to sue you. Somebody's going to sue you. Yeah. Like I was trying to help them, but they didn't want to listen. And it's one of those things.
Sometimes you got to rely on the expert in their department when they're telling you things are going to happen, and they're going to happen.
I was on the AD. That's what I was doing on that particular production as well.
So everything
ADing as well. Yeah.
Right. And it's horrible. You have to look at them and say bigger, better, faster, more. Which do you want?
You can't have all of it.
You can't have all of them. Like, we can do this bigger and better, but then it's going to be
cheaper.
We can do this faster and cheaper, but then you're not going to get.
This is the reality.
Have you ever seen those memes? I love those memes. It's like, the switch. It's like, whenever you. I love those. It's so true.
It's absolutely a pure and true scientific formula, people. 100% real.
Yeah. Like, just listen to your department head when they say something based on experience. Okay, I have a question for both of you. It's a more fun question because we have these sets. I know, are you excited? We have these sets. We work in all different environments. Sometimes they're amazing. Sometimes they're very stressful. I have my little things where, like, when I get to set that keep me grounded, and obviously we're all pretty grounded and chill, but like I have my little, I don't know, like idiosyncrasies when I get to a set. For me, I need that cup of coffee, and I had to get into a little tete-a-tete with a PA who was trying to rush me into hair and makeup. And I'm like, you don't understand. I'm always early. I'm early because I need that cup of coffee. It's not about caffeine. It's because to me, it gets me grounded. This is my home. When I go to work.
It's your ritual. It's your ritual. Yeah.
It's my ritual. I'm home. I just need to waken all my senses and be fully present. And that friggin' cup of coffee will do it for me. So just, 2 minutes.
And guys, you don't want her if she hasn't had that cup of coffee.
That's not true. You don't want me hungry. I'm Italian. We have 2 stomachs. So, like, what are your rituals if you have?
I'll do mine really quick and then let Shaun answer, because I found a few years ago, after I stopped drinking the 2 venti red eyes every day, and that it needed to not be the coffee anymore for me. I'll do pigeon pose anywhere. Literally, I don't care. I will do pigeon pose in the middle of the fucking set. I will stop a take if I'm directing. I did it to 2 Chainz on that Most Expensive show. He's like, dude, what are you doing? We're doing it. I was like, bro, I need a minute. I'm gonna do this. Fine, you'll live. I did pigeon pose. My back was feeling good. My legs felt great. I got up. I was refreshed. I I fixed the idea in my head of what the scene needed to be. Went on. It was great. Pigeon pose. I know it's the weirdest thing, and
I love this. No, I love it.
Guy. I don't even do a ton of yoga, but pigeon pose is the thing.
It helps me like, where is the guy? I'm like, look for the man in the pigeon pose.
I'm old now. It's I love this thing. I don't know what it is. It's not the coffee anymore. And trust me, I still need the coffee, but the coffee is not the place it's in.
No.
I think, guys, I'm kind of in the middle with both of you. So the coffee ritual for sure, I really enjoy, even though I don't drink caffeine. So I have to, I mean, a little bit, I have to have decaf. And everybody's like, why do you drink decaf? And because it is the ritual for me. And I just happen to like the taste of coffee and the smell and all this stuff. Yeah, it's a full like experience.
I will never judge you, by the way. I don't drink alcohol, so.
And you know what? Actually, decaf has gotten so much better. I remember decaf when I was much younger. Like, it always tasted weird, and yeah. But now they've got some good decaf. But anyways.
Wait a minute. I'm in complete shock here. I'm pretty sure in your high school yearbook, you're wearing a t-shirt that says most likely to be caffeinated. How are you not caffeinated, Shaun?
I'm naturally caffeinated, so I don't need that. Yeah. I've always been that way. But no, there was once upon a time I did drink caffeine. I drank too much coffee. I was a bartender at 21. I drank like 6 cups of coffee just to keep up because it was a really like popular multi-level restaurant. And so I was doing drink orders. Each ticket had 30 drinks, blended margaritas. So literally the only way I could get through it was I was drinking, just pounding caffeine and it's not, doing all this stuff. And I think I fried my system because I got to the point where if I drink like a good strong cup of coffee, I shake. I shake and I get anxiety and all of that stuff. So I'm like, nope.
My adrenals are shot. At least your adrenals are working.
So and this is now 20 plus years, I have stopped drinking full on caffeine. Wow. Again, decaf still has a little bit in there. I'll drink a chai tea. That's got some caffeine, whatever. Black teas have caffeine. That doesn't bother me the same way as a
so I know how to bribe you. Send chai.
But I also have a meditative thing that I do as well. I studied martial arts most of my life. And I have, I was lucky enough to train in something called Qigong. And it's really about breathing and all of that. So I actually have, these just kind of a breathing technique that was brought to me and taught to me. And I still use it to this day. I use it all the time.
Wait, what
kind just
of
helps clear
karate
me.
Did you study?
So I started in a very traditional Okinawan karate called Shorin-kan. And it was awesome. And my teachers were amazing. And, I got super lucky that in my little town of Chico, I had some martial arts masters that were super legit. And not just from a technical standpoint, but from a philosophical standpoint. Mm-hmm. And it was not about machismo. It was not about kicking people's asses. It was about elevating yourself and respecting the world around you. That was my base of martial arts, was them teaching and driving that home. Yeah. And we still did some tough stuff. We still did knuckle push-ups on the concrete and practice makawari, which we would punch the 4x4 wood and do all this stuff. We used to have paint cans full of cement and we would literally hit ourselves in the ribs. And, we did all this stuff that we saw in movies as kids that we wanted to do with Jackie Chan and, all of that. But the philosophical part was amazing. And if we had more time, I'd tell you, when I was bullied in high school, my karate master, Pat Haley is his name, not Hanchi, he was Kyoshi, but then his rank went higher than that, I believe. Maybe it is Hanchi. Anyways, he was amazing what he did for me in that situation. I was being bullied really hard by like 4 or 5 guys who would tell me they'd kill me every single day. And of course, I was scared. I brought a knife to school because they were shoving me in the middle of class. They would shove me out of my chair and the teachers would do nothing. And so I got scared and I brought a knife to school. Well, that scared me even more. So I didn't tell my parents at the time, but I did go to my martial arts school. I wasn't a black belt yet at that point. I think maybe I was a brown belt, or maybe not even. But anyways, I went to my karate master, Pat, and I told him that I brought this knife to school. And he goes, all right, well, hand it over. Right. And I did. He goes, don't bring any more knives to school. He goes, but look, I understand you're scared. I get the situation. There's things in your backpack that you could use to defend yourself. And this is what my, whatever 15, 16-year-old brain wanted to hear, right? Because you got a pencil, you got a pen. Those you won't get arrested for using if you're trying to defend yourself. And so we did on the big, SWAT dummy that we had in there. He's teaching me all these cool techniques. That's what my 16-year-old brain was. But here's the better part. He was working on my mentality and the psychology of how to defeat these guys without ever having to get into a fight. And he literally had like a script that he made me rehearse. And of course, I'm an actor growing up in the theater. I got that. I can get this script.
A mantra.
And basically what it was is we came up with a plan. He goes, who's the one who bullies you the most? I go, all right, I know the guy. His name is Dustin. Okay. Do you have homework? You got to figure out when he's not with the 4 other guys. I go, okay. So I did that. I go, well, between 3rd and 4th period, he goes to his locker. Those guys are never with him. He goes, okay, you're going to confront him. And this guy was way bigger than me, by the way. I've never been a big guy, but much bigger than me. And so I was even scared to do that, but he goes, you have to do it. So he worked on me, confronted me, and the script was to the effect of, all right, we're gonna do this right now. We're gonna fight. And I'm gonna do whatever I can to hurt you. You might put me in the hospital, but I'm taking you with me. I will bite, I will scratch, I will do whatever I can to hurt you as much as I can because I'm scared. And you keep telling me you're gonna kill me. So I'm gonna do whatever I can to hurt you as much as I can. I didn't even get 2 sentences into that with the guy when I finally got the courage to go do this. I didn't get 2 sentences. He started crying and he immediately apologized and said, we were never going to hurt you for real. And long story short, he ended up taking me around to everybody saying, we're not messing with this guy anymore. And invited me to bowling, like wanted to be my friend and everything after, which I did. I actually went bowling with them and everything. So what was obviously, it? What was it? What was what?
What was it for them? Why did they bother?
I don't know. I didn't really get into that with them. Again, being a 16-year-old, I was just happy that the chaos was over. But the beauty of that was he was teaching me these techniques with the pencil into a dummy. And I was thinking that's what I needed, but it was all here. And it was just this psychology of how to defeat that bully. And we never got in a scrap, didn't even come to, I literally didn't get 2 sentences into that one. The guy's like, I'm so sorry. We were just messing with you and blah, blah,
Well, but that's how it works. The pencil into the dummy was for your confidence. And I studied Ishin-ryu karate back then and Japanese jiu-jitsu, which I'm still really upset about. Hey.
Yes, I did too.
But it was 600 ways not to hurt the person that is trying to kill you.
Exactly.
You don't understand. You say jiu-jitsu like, I know jiu-jitsu, and they're thinking it's Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Like, I can choke you. No, I know how to roll up and get away from you.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do anything offensively to you at all.
Oh, I got lucky then because our jiu-jitsu was when the whole Brazilian jiu-jitsu thing came out. I go, what are you talking about? This is exactly what we trained. I don't, other than truly training to be deadly off your back. Now that I will give the Brazilian jiu-jitsu
and that's what
flowers.
I'm saying. Like we had none of that in Japanese jiu-jitsu, and I mostly studied Ishin-ryu karate, which is a lot more forms and.
Oh, yeah, I know Ishin-ryu. Yeah. I did all those forms. Come on. We did all this stuff. Yes.
But my kids, you'll love this. They studied Gozen karate, and my son is
a
black belt in Gozen,
nice.
Which
that's cool.
Specifically an accredited form of karate now that is based on playground defense. It's based on the exact thing that you were looking for. And so when my son got bullied, he told this guy, it was like, dude, go ahead and get a free shot on me. I don't know what exactly your problem is, and I'd love to discuss that with you, but you don't seem like you want to have a conversation. So go ahead and hit me. You're not going to hurt me. There's nothing that you can do that has power over me. And I'm like, I can't believe my little scrawny ass son did this. And he was a red belt at the time. He eventually went on to be a 2nd degree black belt, but he was a red belt. And he did something similar to what you're doing, but they taught him that as part of that martial art. Like, so what the experience that you had has now become an offshoot form of the martial arts specifically.
I love that. Yeah.
Well, the whole thing is a lifestyle. It's not just about the discipline of martial. When I ask up and coming stunt performers if they say they're a martial artist, I always ask them what their discipline is, and that's all well and good. But then I also want to watch them in life and on set to see if the discipline carries over into their daily practice, because it's not about being tough at all.
Yeah,
maybe constitutionally, but with that comes compassion and self-mastery. And if you can't call yourself a martial artist unless you have those things. On that topic, because we're at 55, and I want to ask you.
Oh,
I want to talk to you guys forever. I love my friends.
Oh
my God, I wish you guys got along better. It's kind of disappointing.
Terrible, I know.
Is there anything on your wish list now that you haven't done yet that is on the horizon, or something that you're working on right now, personal project or otherwise?
Yes. I've got a bunch of projects.
Directing my series. Oh my God, that's amazing. That is also mine.
That's number one. You already know. I would love to do like a period piece. I would love to do something in like the medieval era. That's high on my list. I've got a couple scripts brewing there. Sounds complete polar opposite, but a musical. So I co-wrote a musical, and it's beautiful. It's a very touching story about grief and loss, and I want to partner with like either Children's Hospital or Chalk or one of these. And one of our goals is to actually cast some children battling and even maybe terminal kids to put them on screen, something that will live on. And but the story itself is about dealing with that grief and loss, but it's called In Your Dreams, and all the music happens within this woman's dreams, and then until the reality. The only time the music comes into reality is at the very end. But anyways, it's a beautiful story. It's dealing with grief and loss, but also finding yourself. And of course, there's a love story element in there as well. And but the music is amazing. So my co-writer is a singer-songwriter, and she's a lovely actress as well. So that one's beautiful. I'd love to do that and tap into that space. And
I am available for your chorus.
Yes, absolutely. And also,
I know some really good musical producers that could probably help you get that thing going if you're not already on your way. Let's talk. Perfect. Yeah. And it's also one of those things of I just think it's the message is really important and could be something that really resonates and helps people in a very positive way. So that's the kind of stuff that I really want to do and continue to do is I love this.
Anyways, it feels like a time in our history and in our country when like empaths are actually waking up even more. Like we want even more to instill this feeling of confidence and wholeness and community within each other and lift people up. Oh, I love that that's on your mind and that's something in your sack of tricks. That's amazing.
Yeah. And also my dad directed musicals for probably the last.
How do I not know? That was my career was
10 years.
You were saying you started there too when in grade school, right? And I mean,
So and it's Anyways, watching him direct musicals is amazing. I mean, just was so cool. So that's been on my, and people think, stunts and action. They wouldn't think that that's something I'd want to do, but
absolutely.
But I would love it. Yeah.
Classical music. We freaking love Metallica too. Like it's,
whatever.
Yeah. So when that gets rolling or way before, we're going to have you back on.
Yes.
We're almost the hour mark and I'm just so
Shaun,
miss you guys.
Where can people find you, brother? So we can.
Social media wise, Instagram's the easiest place to find me. I don't go on other social medias that much, but Instagram, it's just Director Shaun and Shaun is Shaun and then my last name Piccinino. But if you do Director Shaun P, I'm sure I'm going to pop up there. I'm on, I'm on, I'm not on X anymore, but I am on some of the other,
Blue Sky?
Actually I did download that. Yeah. And then
awesome.
You're on Threads because we follow each other on Threads.
Threads. Yeah. Threads as the other one. And then Facebook, I still have an account, but I don't really go there. But anyway, so they can find me there. They can find me at directorshaun.com. And again, that's Shaun. And you can see all the the latest and greatest of what's going on and all that fun stuff.
Well, you heard it from the man himself. Everybody follow Shaun. That's Lisa. I'm Justin. This is Greige Against the Machine. Please come back next week because every week we have somebody awesome on here. It's endless. It's nonstop.
Check out this show. Check out this show. Subscribe.
Hit the button down there too. All right, guys.
And comment and share. Comment and share.
All of those things. Thanks,
pros. Absolute
Bye,
pros.
guys.
Mwah.